Hello, this is Athena Jezik again. Here, Karina's on the table today, and I thought I'd talk a little bit about sciatic pain because that's a real common thing that happens. There's a lot that you can do with it as far as keeping the muscles loosened so they're not too tight, but it's my opinion from my experience of working on so much sciatica is that it really has a lot to do with the positioning, the alignment of the sacrum. And there's special techniques to deal with that, but I'm going to show you today more massage techniques that will help. It's just that when the sacrum is out of position, then it's usually side bent one way or the other, which would put a pinch on the sciatic nerve, which comes out of this area, but it comes from the back and out of this area. It's a very big nerve. So one of the things that I don't really think is a good thing to do is to elbow people in, because it is a nerve and there's inflammation in there, and a lot of that kind of deep pressure, you might need it for loosening muscles, but you can loosen muscles in a different way. You don't have to just drive your elbow into that. So if you are doing it and you're finding it successful, that's fine, continue it, but I think most people prefer having a little bit more gentle use or work done on them because it hurts. Sciatic hurts really bad. Sometimes the pain will kind of come to the front of the leg. Sometimes it'll just run down. Sometimes it stops at the knee. Sometimes it goes all the way down to the foot. And I think that just depends on how the nerves are being pinched, how they're being twisted, and all of that other stuff. But I will say that once the sacrum is in the proper alignment and in alignment with this sphenobasilar junction, and the whole spine is nice and straight, that seems to really alleviate it, and then the brain can put in new muscle memory patterns. So right now I'm just loosening up and checking how the muscles feel along this hip. Here I'm right at the hip, right here. And the sacrum is here, of course. And then just checking the muscles going down the IT band, which the IT band is a little bit more tendinous in the way that it's put together, because it's to support our leg between the hip and the knee. It's not a fun thing to have not working. So I'm just doing little circular movements here to see if I feel anything kind of abnormal. A lot of times you're going to feel the tension, the very different levels of tension happening. And Karina doesn't have sciatic, but it's still good to check it out, because sciatica can happen. The other thing is that the alignment also needs to be between the knee and the cuboid bone. A lot of times with sciatica, the heel strike will be off. Here's some tight muscles through here. The heel strike will be off, and that will put the knee a little bit out of alignment. I'm very, very aware of alignment and what that does to the body, and particularly aware now that I'm having so much therapy for my own body, keeping the hip in the line, even though it's very, very weak. And I'm still working towards getting it strong enough so I can actually walk on it. But I'm able to sit and stand now without having to hang on to the chair very tight. So it is strengthening, which is good. And some of the sciatic pain can come up into the hamstring area under here. I'm just going to move that up a little bit, right along where the gluteals muscles are and the hamstrings are attaching. So you just work into that a little bit. And then, okay. Then you want to take a look at the knee. And again, I'm just working both sides of the knee. Thumbs are on one side, and I'm kind of kneading it, I guess would be more of a kneading type action. And then checking the joint alignment here to make sure that the knee is in the proper joint. Now, a lot of that, it's a very subtle thing, because a lot of times we don't think that our knee is out of alignment because we don't feel any kind of pain, but it doesn't mean that it's not slightly out of alignment. And eventually there'll be some wear and tear, like the front end of car tires when the front isn't aligned. You'll have a little wear and tear on the tires over time. Same thing occurs in the body, particularly in the joints. They'll get wear and tear on them. And then down into the calf, this is just kneading the calf. This is all preliminary kind of thing. Kneading into the calf, working down. And then into the foot, checking that cuboid bone, which is a real important bone. Checking that with the tibula fibula joint area, where they come together. I always like to check the alignment first, because then it's like easier for me to be guided as to where to go, and then I can put the alignment closer into a proper positioning. And then the muscles, as I work into the muscles, they will be onto a different vector line of alignment as well. And check the Achilles. It all feels pretty good. So what we can do next is put a little bit of oil on here, which I have. I'm not going to use too much. So I'm just going to put that on the outside and a little bit on the hamstring and all the way down here on the calf. Now, sometimes I would use the thumbs going down. I'm going to be going into this IT band, but I'm going to start down into the knee. And on the other, I would always work it from the side, but in order for you to be able to see it, I'm going to work with the fingers instead of the thumbs, because the thumbs would usually press down going like that, but I'm going to just use the fingers. Either way works. It's just a different way to do it. So you want to press in. You can feel the edge of the IT band. It's very distinct, and you want to just cross over with cross fiber friction to feel, to loosen that up. And I'm just working downward to it, to about where the IT band stops. It's kind of hard to feel the edge of it when they're laying like this, but you can feel the edge in the hamstring, and that's actually a little more important to work on that side of it, since the pain usually does come around the back side of the leg. And just keep working down. Just move over and just get every little section of this, and take your time. Go slow so the muscles don't get too shocked or freaked out. You can cause some pain and harm if you work a little bit too deep, too quickly. And people who are doing this work do need to be very mindful of a lot of that stuff. Remember that the main code of any kind of medical stuff should be cause no harm. Sometimes there might be some pain involved with it, but it should not be pain that's going to create harm. Now I'm going to come back down the edge, which I feel these muscles in the band, the IT band itself actually is much softer just from that one sweep of cross fiber friction going up the leg. It's much, much softer. Okay, and then to do a little bit of kneading, petrissage kind of thing in the hamstring going upward. This is really just to soften the muscle, because so that way the muscle isn't giving an extra little pinch onto any nerve. The nerve runs pretty deep, so you're not probably dealing exactly on muscles around the nerve, but you're getting the muscles that are the next layer. And then I'm doing the same kind of pushing across these hamstrings, which seems to be opening up pretty well. And then now here, this area of the knee, you don't want to ever go deep into. You want to go to the side of it. There's a lot of structure there that's very delicate, so you always want to work on the side of it. But here you're going along and you can feel where the knee joint is starting to happen, and you can do that on the inside too, which would be inside, like so. Or you can do it with both hands and just kind of follow that. You do kind of follow the anatomy. Okay, now I know I'm working on this leg, but I'm going to show you on this leg, the inside. And that's just going to be a little bit sweeping down. And then you get to the inguinal triangle, so you can't go too high on the inner thigh. And then I'm just going to loosen it here. This isn't usually affected by sciatic pain unless there's a whole lot of nerves that are being affected. So it's just a matter of loosening it up so that the entire leg is softer, and you work that. Okay, then we can go and do this, a similar thing with the calf, coming from the bottom and pushing down. Little moves up so you get all the areas. You don't want to skip anything, make big gaps in it. Just roll those fingers down. And here there's a little bit of tightness right here. So when you do find tightness, then you want to run the muscle with the fiber and get in between the fiber. You're not using a whole lot of pressure to do that, but there is a little bit more pressure with massage than there is with cranial work. And we keep going up. Okay, and then when you get back, you'll feel the knee bone. This is like a bone right here. You can feel that. And then you can kind of do these little kneading, pinching things back down a ways. And then go back down across these lateral muscles, the gastroc and soleus, the edges of that. Okay, that feels pretty good. Then you can do some thumb ironing. And that's where you take your thumb and you just go along the edge of the muscle. Which is nice. And you'll feel, I'm feeling a little bumps here and there. Nothing that I would say is too restricting. But there is some lactic acid. A lot of times that's lactic acid. And then do a thumb iron. I'm going to do a finger iron. And just go up that. You're pretty close to the bone. Right there, the tibia. And you want to go right along the edge of that. Now I'm just using all my fingers to run up that same space. There we go. Okay. And then the same type of thing on the, we want to go to the edge of the iliotibial tract here with the thumb iron. Working it up. And then right next to where you were, it's a little more in the belly. The iliotibial tract oftentimes does have a lot of little restrictions in it. Sometimes it feels like you're going on a gravel road, but that isn't necessarily knots. It's probably more lactic acid, because these muscles do work pretty hard. This tract works hard to keep us standing nice and firm. And then the front edge of that, and that works into that. Okay, so if you're going to be working here, we can work into the gluteal muscles. Here's the hip, and then you can work into the gluteal muscles by just kind of pulling them up and then kneading around. Now this is where the nerve, kind of the source of it, the cause of it is going to be close, so you don't want to go with a lot of pressure here. You just want to work into that circular, but not deep. I really don't recommend going really deep over that nerve, because there is inflammation going on. And you can work through clothing with this. I rarely even, lymphatic and everything, I'm pretty much working through a lot of clothing for what I do. And of course in cranial work, you just lay down on the table. You don't need to remove any clothes, just big earrings and wallets and belts. And then feel into that hip socket area, and then feel if the muscle here is softer. And then of course, this is a little bit outside of the range of massage, but you also do want to check to see how the sacrum, if the L5-S1 and the sacrum is aligned. More than likely, if you don't have the technique down or are able to really feel it, you won't feel what you're supposed to be feeling in the alignment. But there's a little alignment happening. L5-S1 is opening up a little bit. And the sacrum isn't, badly out of positioning, but it always does tend to get a little bit out, simply because of the way we sit. We're constantly sitting pretty much the same way, and we should be sitting straight on the sit bones, and then letting that little coccyx balance us like a tripod. But most of us are sitting back into the sacrum, which if we are twisting any, then we're going to be pulling that out little by little. And there's quite a bit of activity that I'm feeling going on. There's a certain pressure that you need to put with part of the palm of your hand, just on one area of the sacrum. Your whole hand isn't necessarily on the sacrum. The heel of your hand is not on it at all. So it's mostly fingers and palm, but that's a technique that's important to learn if you want to really affect it. And then I just check along here and then along the hip line as well. And along this hip line, going the other way. And then if you want, you can take your hands and find the hip bones, the crest of the hip bones toward the front, and just work that. This is another technique that's not really massage related, but if you can get in and meld to that bone, you can feel a little bit of shifting that'll go on in that pelvic region and aligning with the changes that have happened with the sacrum. So the alignment will be much better. Alignment has always been, good posture has always been kind of an awful subject for most of us. But there is something to say that the alignment of the body is vitally important to functioning well and letting the energy run well and the cerebral spinal fluid running well and the fluids of the body and everything else. So, and then you can just kind of measure, see how level it is. And that's some work that you can do to concentrate, to give them a little relief. More than likely, just the massage work itself is not going to really take the pain away, at least not right away, because like I say, it's usually a structural thing, but it will give relief. And if you can give relief to somebody, that's good. Also too, if you're interested to learn exactly how to work that sacrum and balance it with the spheno-basilar junction, I have a course that it does teach that, so you can check out the link below the video. And if you're interested in learning that, just join the course and you will find out a lot of other secrets there as well. So with that, I want to say thank you so much for viewing and for hitting the like button. Your comments are always great. I read them all. Karina reads them. And I want to also say thank you so much for the well wishes that I'm back. And thank you, especially those of you that are helping me through this really, really rough financial time. So with that, I'm going to say I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. And I look forward to the next video. Thank you so much. I want to invite you to explore my course, The Foundations of Subtle Alignment. It is going to take you beyond the work of massage therapy. It will take you into the world of the subtle anatomy. In this course, you will learn about the subtle anatomy and a protocol for assessing and aligning the subtle structures. Misalignment of the subtle structures is often the root cause of chronic pain, injuries, and chronically high levels of stress hormones. These techniques offer profound benefit whether you are working on people with complex issues or not.